Hello everyone, my name is Brian, but you can call me the Bugler, and today we're going to talk about the super buff that took place with Destiny 2 patch 1.1.0. According to the patch notes, super damage has been buffed against boss enemies, but what exactly does that mean? Well, here it is. As a rule, super damage has been buffed by 30% against all boss enemies. This does not apply to any other enemies, so you won't see any sort of damage increase against red barred enemies or majors or anything like that. It's strictly against boss enemies. Now, I gave the value 30%. We're going to take a look at some examples. Each one shows a different thing. First, we're going to take a look at straight damage values for the Gunslinger Hunter. We're not going to cover every single subclass and super because, as I said, each one is increased by exactly 30%. There's not really much to cover here, so what I have are some examples of the different situations in which it applies, so you know that it will apply to every single super. I'm not out to waste everybody's time, so let's get started with the Gunslinger. I've chosen to talk about the Gunslinger Hunter's Way of the Sharpshooter skill tree because of how straightforward the damage is dealt. Our first body shot to the modular mine deals 897 before the patch. The first headshot would deal 1,794, and the second one would deal 2,196. After the patch, a body shot will now deal 1,166 damage, a headshot will deal 2,332 damage, and the second headshot, which gets increased damage, deals 2,854, following the exact same progression as it did before the patch, except buffed by 30% extra damage. Let's move on and take a look at a different example, the Nightstalker Hunter's Way of the Pathfinder skill tree using Mobius Quiver. Before the patch, Mobius Quiver dealt 414 damage on impact and 3 damage when the tether activated. After the patch, we deal an extra 30% damage in both cases, so when the arrow connects and then when the tether connects. When the arrow connects after the patch, we deal 539 damage, and when the tether activates, we deal 4 damage instead of 3. This is just to show you that the 30% will apply to more than just the initial damage of the super. We can take this even further though with our next example. The Attunement of the Elements skill tree for the Stormcaller Warlock grants a skill called Landfall. This casts a damaging bolt of lightning when you activate Storm Trance. Before the buff, it dealt 1,035 damage to the modular mine, and after, it deals 1,346. So up by 30%. This 30% buff also applies to our Tickle Fingers, from 249 up to 323. The point of this is to show you that skills that add things to your super, such as Cataclysm or Vulcan's Rage, have also been buffed by 30%. So even though the damage isn't being dealt by the super itself, instead a skill granted to the super, it has also been buffed. And we can take this to the penultimate level in my final example here, for the Siegebreaker Titan. When the Siegebreaker Titan throws hammers, he creates sunspots. The damage has been buffed not only for the sunspot explosions and the hammers, but also the damage that the sunspots themselves deal. Our hammers, which originally dealt 566 damage, now deal 736. The explosion that creates our sunspots is up from 207 to 270, and the burn damage of our sunspots are also up from 69 to 90, a 30% increase across the board. This has some interesting implications, and I believe it proves a theory that I had. I have a theory that our super damage values were not actually buffed at all, at least not directly. I think that the damage resistance values for boss type enemies is actually what was changed. I believe it was reduced by 30%, resulting in these consistent numbers that we see. I've tested every single super, and I thought it was a waste of time for me to show you them considering each one had the exact same results. Instead, I chose to show you each version of them, so you can see how they apply to every single super type in the game. Those that deal impact damage, those that deal straight damage, those that deal burn damage, and those that have things added onto them. So, if what I'm saying is right, That is the change that actually took place. I'll never know if it's right. All I can present you is with evidence, and you can make up your mind yourself. And that's the end of this breakdown. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about how I conducted the tests, or why I might not have included other footage, please let me know in the comments so I could answer them for you. In my next video, I'm going to be breaking down the Wardcliffe Coil Exotic Rocket Launcher. You can look forward to that video over the weekend. As per usual, I'll be going live on Twitch shortly after this video goes live, so if you'd like to join me while I do milestones and get salty in PvP, please follow my Twitch channel in this video's description. You can also find links to our Discord server, clan page, and Patreon. So once again, thanks for watching, I hope I see you next time, and good luck getting through the exclusion zone.